What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, we are live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Normally, I like to give a nice little introduction to the show, introduce myself, introduce my co-host, tell you guys to follow and subscribe. And while I'm still going to put that up on the screen, we're going to skip through all that fun stuff. We're going to skip through the polite little introduction and talking here because welcome to your Eagles and Philly sports therapy session here on a Wednesday morning at 10:46 a.m. Eagles lose their home opener on Monday Night Football to Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons 22-21 in heartbreaking fashion. I wish I could say it's something I've never seen before. I wish I could say I'm not used to this, but things happen here all the time in Philly that just make us kind of prone and kind of used to this feeling a little bit, but it still hurts and stings like the first time all over again every single time. From the decision to go for it on third, to pass the ball, on third down, to Saquon dropping it, to Scotty spilling his drink all over himself right now. But the decision to throw the ball on third down, to Saquon dropping it, to the pass rush or lack thereof, to the run defense, to them letting Kirk Cousins look like Patrick Mahomes in the last 90 seconds of a football game and drive 70 yards down the field in 45 seconds to beat them, to Jalen's interception, to Nick Sirianni not addressing the team after the game, to everything. We're going to talk about it all. To 6 Britton Covey receptions, to him out targeting Jahan Dotson and Dallas Goedert together, to the lack of red zone touches and lack of inside the 10 touches to Saquon Barkley, to everything, man, to everything. And we're going to break it all down for you guys. I still am, I guess, processing how we are here right now, how this is not a Victory Wednesday 2-0 start to the season type of show, because it was right there, up 3, 5:37 left. CJ Gardner-Johnson makes an explosive play up the middle and stuffs Bijan Robinson. The Eagles tick off 4 more minutes off the clock, and it still wasn't good enough. Scotty, man, we're going to give our thoughts on everything that went wrong in this game, but how are you feeling, dude?
I go back and forth, man. I go back and forth. I think the worst part about losses in Philadelphia and about these type of losses is how confusing things get afterwards, because you have a bunch of angry people that, rightfully so, we're all angry, we're all mad, we're all confused, and we all start throwing around ideas, thoughts, trends that we're seeing, and it just gets really confusing because, I have my natural beliefs in this team, right? We came into our natural predictions, expectations for this team this year. And, there are people that come away from these losses with these holistic point of views, like perspectives, right? Like I saw that Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. Like, do not put him in the top 5 conversations. I've seen conversations that this is a top 5 loss for the Eagles of all time. Wow. So there's a balance there, you know what I mean? Because I'm upset, man. I'm upset, but I do think the hardest part that comes with the loss is everybody's all over the place, man. When we win, we can just win together. We can enjoy it. We can talk about the positives. Yeah, some of us will nitpick sometimes, but we still enjoy the win. When we lose, everybody goes out on their own. Ideas start formulating. You get confused. And that's when you start getting a little bit more creative with some of your thoughts about this team in a more negative fashion. And that's just always the hardest part for me, man, because I get so misconstrued, misguided with social media, hot takes, these different things that are being said about the Eagles, where I am. I'm sitting here, I'm confused. I'm like, is this like a continued trend from last year at the end of the season? is this a continued trend with Jalen Hurts? Is this a continued trend with the defense, Vic Fangio's system, so on and so forth? And you just get so caught up in the moment. And that's what I'm going to try to balance out here today. I am frustrated as hell, but I'm going to try to balance out. Try not to just overreact here. Like, this does not make the Eagles a non-contender, is where I'll start.
No, it
is a horrible, horrible loss. Probably the worst loss by an NFL team this year, outside of getting blown out, right? Like the fashion of the loss.
Yeah,
self-inflicted wound.
And that's the thing, and that's why I think you're feeling that way, and a lot of people are feeling that way. Is all right. You see, that's it. Relax.
I don't know if you're joking.
They're not garbage, and the quarterback Martian, I have a lot of negatives to get to today and a lot of issues with this game. The one thing we're not going to do is blame Jalen Hurts for this loss, no matter how bad you want to. We'll talk about the interception. I texted Scotty a lot about that interception and that decision when you need 16 yards with a timeout and 25 seconds to do that. But this game had nothing to do with the first 59 and a half minutes with Jalen Hurts. So we'll put that to the back end. We'll put that on the back burner for now. All right. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about how bad the loss is, but
absolutely,
we're not going to go to one loss and talk about how this team is trash and they're not going to win the division and everything. The reason I think Martian's so fired up, the reason I'm going to be fired up throughout the show, the reason I think you're like going back and forth, Scotty, is we can handle a loss. They're going to come in a 17-game schedule. I can't handle that type of loss. And I do have bigger concerns where I don't think they're garbage. I still think they're a good football team. I need to see things change for me to fully be bought into where I was 10 days ago, 7 days ago, because the pass rush, like no matter how good the offense is when A.J. Brown comes back, they could be the best in the league. They could be top 3, top 5. No matter how good the offense is, it's Super Bowl contending worthy. That pass rush, that defensive line is so bad right now that I can't take you seriously to contend. I do disagree with TR a little bit. I don't think the back end was an issue. I think the back end is a byproduct of how bad the front 7 and the front 4 are. Dude, Kirk Cousins didn't have to move in the pocket for 7-8 seconds. And then you had the Vic Fangio play calls at the end. Look, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to
the we got to like organize this show right now because we're all over the place. I feel like it's coming from like a protective. We're not defending that loss. Like that's not what I was getting at. I'm just saying, let's not jump to conclusions. The Cowboys suck this week. The 49ers fucking suck this week. We didn't have A.J. Brown. Like these are things that happen. Like the defensive line, the pass rush is garbage. Like I can go there, TR. I just can't say like the defense as a whole is garbage when they gave up what? 22 points? Like 22 points? I can't say that when the offense does these like self-inflicted mistakes.
Yeah, no,
the penalties.
Let's start with what my biggest takeaway was, man. And this comes down to Nick Sirianni for me. I can deal with the aggressive play calling. I can deal with settling for points and being conservative. What I cannot deal with is inconsistency. And that's what Nick Sirianni did in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And that's what Nick Sirianni just did on Monday night yet again. First quarter, 0-0 ball game. Second offensive drive of the night for us. I forget if it was the first or second. I can't remember how quickly. No, it was the second because Saquon didn't touch the ball the first drive and we punt, whatever. Second offensive drive, 0-0 ball game. 4th and 4. Not 4th and 1. Not 4th and 2. 4th and 4. You decide to throw points away. You always take the points in that situation. I don't care what analytics say. I do not care. Unless it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you do not go for it in that situation. And if you know you're going to go for it in that scenario, Scotty, you run the ball on 3rd and 4. You do not throw it to the back of the end zone to Johnny Wilson for an incompletion. So they
Yeah.
punt it, they throw points away then. And then you get to the big point of it all. You do not throw that pass. Saquon has to catch it. Let's just take that, put it in a box, and put it over here for another conversation. Saquon Barkley has to catch it. Kellen Moore dialed up a play that got his guy wide open. Jalen made a perfect throw leading him. We would have picked up the first down. Saquon is paid to catch it. However, you do not even allow for 0.0001% chance of error of stopping that clock in that situation. Scotty, when the Atlanta Falcons, right outside the 2-minute warning on 3rd and 1, decided to tap Cam Jurgens on the head and try to get the Eagles to accept a penalty, and Nick Sirianni declined it. Why? Because he knew the clock was his ally. He knew he had to continue to keep it running. So he declines it. They push it. They force Atlanta to use their 3rd and final timeout. In what world do you throw the ball then 2 plays later? Especially, dude, listen, if they would have drawn up like a slant to Smitty and he was wide open or whatever, but you threw it to the running back out of the backfield, and while he's paid to catch that football, what the fuck is the difference from just turning and making sure he gets the ball in his hands? He was gashing them 95% of the night. You give it to him. Even if they stuff him, 40 plus more seconds come off the clock. You can decide to kick the field goal then, or you go for it because they're inside their own 10-yard line. Or he doesn't get it, but he picks up 2 or 3 yards, and it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and you run it again or push it then. You do anything but allow a 1% chance of a drop and stopping the clock in that situation. Fuck your analytics. Fuck the fact that Saquon caught it. You don't allow for it. And they did that. And then he kicks the field goal. And that part might be worse for me, Scotty, because if you just would have kept the clock running and then even gone for it and not picked it up.
Yeah.
You allow Kirk Cousins to have to go 90 yards in 60 or less seconds with no timeouts to beat you, or 60-some yards just to tie you. Instead, you still let it be a 1-possession game. You still only made it a 6-point game, and he only had to go 70 yards to beat you.
Yeah. No.
It can't happen.
I do side with the 4th down call. Bothered me a little bit more than the pass play. I do get your reasoning. I think from a basic standpoint, yeah. At the end of the day, they probably should have ran it both downs. But at the end of the day, if Saquon just catches that goddamn pass, we're just not having these conversations.
I agree.
That's where I just always come back to, like, the Saquon drop. Like, I do get it. Like, don't get me wrong. My indictment mainly from this game is against Nick Sirianni, because it's throughout the game. It's not even just that situation right there. It's throughout the game where I'm not even sure if Kellen Moore is calling all of these plays, man. Like, you're telling me those first 2 drives, that 3rd and 9 QB draw, it's either Jalen or it's Nick Sirianni that's calling that. Kellen Moore is not calling that shit. That is the same shit that we saw last year. So, like, I have my bone to pick with Nick Sirianni, and quite honestly, I'll put it out there. I think that Nick Sirianni should be fired. I think that he should have been fired. I don't think that he belongs here. I don't think that he is good at anything. I don't think that he has a positive skill set. I even got sick to my stomach when I saw this man, like, doing his little hand roll for the first down when the game's not fucking over, bro. The game's not over. And you're doing that. And it was making me sick, man. Even the broadcast, bro. Like, I know there was people, like, complaining about how Eagles-centric was. It was honestly embarrassing even more for me because of that. Like, Scott Van Pelt is coming back with 1:30 to go, talking about the winners and 2-0 Eagles, blah, blah, blah. Then we go and give up that drive, man. Like, all of it just felt so fucking off. But that Saquon drop, man, just really, really disgusted me. And the reason it disgusted me, man, was because now Saquon fed into the negative impact on the
I know.
offense. The
It
guy
like
that has
takes
been
away
beyond
from
perfect.
his awesomeness, just like a little bit.
Just
Like,
a little bit, like not
yeah.
that much. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Saquon
No,
here, man. You
but
just got to
it's
catch
like,
that ball.
yeah.
But to your point, you're being aggressive, and let's be honest, passing the ball on third down, you're being ultra aggressive. So just finish it off and go for it on fourth, man. Run the football on fourth down, and or throw it. It doesn't matter at that point. If you don't get the first down, the clock's going to stop regardless.
Scotty, right? It has
So
to be one of those two things for me,
yeah,
right? I
go
would have
for it.
ran the ball. I would have ran the ball. To me, you have to
Yeah.
run the ball. But if you're
I
going
would have ran it on third and fourth.
yes.
But if you pass it on third, you might want to pass it on fourth and third. I don't know.
But you at least go for it.
Yeah,
Try
go
to
for
pick
it.
up and end the game then. You don't just settle for 6. And I know head coaches and guys in the locker room, they have each other's backs and they have at least some sort of confidence in the room, in their group, in their team. So maybe Nick Sirianni and company don't view their defense like we do, like our past traumas do, right? Yeah. But you have to know a little bit that 3 and 6 are not going to make all the difference in the world here for this team. And the other reason you run the ball, Scotty, and continue that clock all the way down to like 1:10 or a minute, whatever it would have been, is I heard this point brought up by Anthony Organo on his show. Shout out him. Shout out Parcero, by the way. That changes everything from the Falcons' point of view. See, we sit here and Kirk Cousins gets the ball back with 1:45 seconds, 1:30 seconds, and they get the ball at the 30. Now that changes their entire drive. If they only have 60 seconds, especially from their own 10-yard line or whatever, that changes the first play for them. That first play went for 15 yards right over the middle of the field because they had the extra 40-some seconds. You take that away from them, that changes everything. They got to throw to the boundary. The Eagles could take away the boundary better. It changes everything for the Falcons if you take away the extra 40-plus seconds. That's why you run the ball in that situation. And I know he has to catch it. I am not 100% excusing Saquon Barkley. Any professional, Britton Covey has to catch that ball. Jahan Dotson has to catch the ball. Johnny Wilson has to catch the ball. Saquon Barkley has to catch that ball. But the part that frustrates me, man, is they were gashing him. He was gashing Atlanta all night long.
Yeah.
And the fact that you called his number for the pass play, why not just give it? Why not just turn?
Constantly overthinking.
Yeah, man. Even if Atlanta
sells
out for the run.
Saquon just had 3 touchdowns last week, and he doesn't touch the ball in the first drive of the game. Like, these are problems. Like, I'm not trying to, sell you that these aren't problems, Martian. But you do care about the team. That's why you're so upset. You don't want to leave the impression you are just by leaving this comment that you care, man. And that's fine. It's okay to care. It's okay to be disappointed. And that shit was beyond disappointing. Don't get me wrong. That's what I meant by it's confusing coming into this show today, because on one side, we are one Saquon drop from the defense holding the Falcons to 16 points.
Yeah,
we're one Saquon drop away from 2-0. We're one Saquon drop away from Jalen Hurts clean game. Yeah. What 200 passing yards, almost 100 rushing yards, 3 tutties, no interceptions up until that last drive. We were one Saquon drop away from this narrative completely not existing.
Yeah,
all of these narratives is off that one play that happened. And it's not just one play, because it was after the Saquon drop. Then you have the defensive meltdown. Then you have the Jalen Hurts interception. And I do get that. It's cause and effect, though. These things don't happen if Saquon
I do want to, again, this is
or if they run the ball on third down.
Martian,
Let's say that too.
You know how I know he's not a Swiftie, Scotty?
Yeah, I know he's not, man. Stop trolling me.
Because he's here right now. That's why.
Exactly, man.
And here's the thing, bro. I get you. I get you. The Ravens just lost at home to the Raiders and are 0-2. The Bengals are 0-2. The Cowboys just lost by 20 plus at home to the Saints, who we get this week. They're 1-1. Yeah. The Niners just lost to Sam Darnold and the Vikings. They're 1-1. The Lions, or the 49ers, I mean. The Lions just lost at home. They're 1-1. Come Like, just I'm not excusing anything. I am not saying that I am confident that this team's even going to go and win on Sunday on the road right now. What I'm telling you is just to, for 1 second, and not take that horrifying loss, that sickening, disgusting loss in week 2 of the season, and just call it quits and call this team garbage. Because to Scotty's point about the defense, man, the defense, it is disgusting. That final drive is disgusting. I have questions about Vic Fangio right now. But do I think the defense as a whole is garbage? No, because I still think our back end's fine. Quinyon Mitchell was a monster. Avonte Maddox, who I said to get off the field and never play again, only allowed 2 catches for like 13 yards. Darius Slay got a little bit picked on, but he only gave up like 46 yards passing. The run defense doesn't look good right now, and the pass rush is non-existent. I'm not arguing with those 2 things. I'm not saying they will be fixed or solved, and that could very well be the reason that you do not contend and you are not a very good football team this year. But I don't think the defense is garbage because of that.
I can't get with that, man. I can't get with the
now.
Garbage
I will say
the pass rush is garbage. I do agree, but then I think that's where we got to pick our poison. Like, does Vic Fangio suck as a defensive coordinator, or does the fucking front 4 suck?
Right.
Like one is causing the other to look like they suck. So which one is it? Like, we have to pick our poison. Can't be both. Like, one of them sucks. Is Vic Fangio not putting them in the right positions, or does this group of guys on the front 4 just fucking suck? I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure it out.
Before that final drive, Kirk Cousins had like 170 passing yards and like 14 completions in 58 minutes of the ball game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Kirk Cousins took you apart all night long. It's that final drive. And that's part of the issue, again, when it goes back to the decision to, keep that, throw it and then take the points and everything. I will throw this out to you. Jordan Davis, I don't know what to make of Jordan Davis right now or anymore, to be honest with you. Josh Sweat, I saw make 1 tackle from behind when Bijan spun and got by somebody for a first down. And Bryce Huff looks like the biggest waste of space and waste of a bag to ever be given to a Philly athlete. And we've had a lot of those come through the door. That's a problem for this team right now. $51 million for a guy in 2 games to contribute 1 single statistic. 1 stat in 2 games for Bryce Huff. Not a sack, not a quarterback pressure, not a tackle for loss. It is disgusting what he's giving this team right now. But I'll come back to the defense, man. When you're watching, I guess, in an ugly game, but it's a tight game, so you're just worried about getting the win in the moment, and you're not paying too much attention to the fine details of it all because they're ahead and you just want to get this game over with. Once the game ended, in hindsight, man, it was a disaster by Nick Sirianni, and I'll include Kellen Moore in this because we are assuming that he is calling the play calls.
I can't make that assumption anymore. I don't know who is calling.
We think that, but
I do not believe that Sirianni is calling plays. I think he is calling plays in certain moments of the game, man. That is happening.
That would just be asinine.
I cannot give in to believe that Kellen Moore is calling the same bullshit to Britton Covey that Nick Sirianni was calling last year. I can't believe
agree.
That, man.
But I don't. By all accounts, we just have to roll with the fact that
it. I get your point.
And here's the question. Not the question. Here's the issue. Saquon Barkley had 1 carry inside the 10-yard line. He had 5 carries in the red zone. Saquon Barkley had 1 carry inside the 10-yard line. What are we doing?
Drive. That third drive of the game, man.
Doing?
Gainwell comes in the red zone.
The first drive of the game. I'm texting you. Jalen Hurts has 2 rushes. Saquon Barkley doesn't touch the ball. What are we doing, man?
Yeah, run Hurts to death. Get his body killed. That's the move. You know what I mean? Like, first drive of the game, let's run Jalen Hurts, not Saquon Barkley, our running back. Let's run Jalen Hurts into the fucking ground.
Man. And I know and here's the thing though, Martian, like you're not wrong. Like and we can't pin our finger on
I'm
what
kind
it
of
is.
there.
What's the problem?
I'm with Martian after that game. Like I
Maybe,
don't know
man,
what happened.
but Britton Covey has more targets than him and Jahan Dotson combined. And it's not just that Britton Covey was getting the ball, Scotty. At least 4 of his 6 catches that I watched were designed immediate first reads to Britton. It's like A.J. Brown was out, and they put Britton Covey in his spot, and this is who the ball's going to.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. I do agree. I think, it's once again, to bring it back, I do agree with what Martian is saying here. Like with Goddard, he's just not consistent. I don't know if it's Jalen, it's the offense, whatever. He's just not consistent. But the Eagles still could have won the game. Like all of the shit that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
It was won. That's the problem.
Nick Sirianni. That's why I do believe, like, man, you could fire Nick Sirianni right now and, like, bring Bill Belichick in. And I know culture, setting a vibe in the locker room. Maybe you don't bring Bill Belichick in. Maybe you just upgrade Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore to head coach at some point. I'm not saying that they're going to do this after one loss. I'm just saying that's where I'm at with Nick Sirianni, because every game that I watch, I find myself questioning the coaching. Not just play calling, but time management situations, decisions to go for it and not. These are all things that I find myself questioning our head coach every single game about since last year.
It's his only responsibility now.
Exactly. It should not be that way. And so my thing here right now is that the Eagles offense, if they get their shit together, stop the penalties, stop fucking running the RPO until you can get it right. Like, just stop. They're so talented, they don't need to run an RPO. Just stop. You have Saquon Barkley. Run it with Saquon Barkley. Like, stop. But beyond that, if the offense can just get it together, they can win despite this shit. Now, what I will say, we're going to switch to the defense here soon. They will not win a Super Bowl with that front four, like that front group of guys. They have to add something to that, because that, like two pieces almost is what I feel like. One significant one would be great just to see if it could help, but they need help on that defensive line, man. Fletcher Cox all of a sudden looks like the biggest loss in the world at the age of like 35.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be this way. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, we shouldn't feel this way about it. We shouldn't have to. But it is what it is. This is where we're at. And I do agree with you guys there. I don't agree that the defense as a whole is garbage. I think that front four and the guys that they rotate in and out, I think they're garbage. And I do think we need to add something there, or we won't contend with the highest. Because the one glaring thing that you can look at with this Kirk Cousins last drive that everybody's harping on this defense is that if that's Josh Allen, if that's Patrick Mahomes, they'll do it faster. Like, they'll get down the field faster than Kirk Cousins did. So I do get your point from there. I just can't sit here and call a back end of our defense garbage when we can't get any pressure from the front end. If we start getting pressure and the back end looks like garbage, then we can go that far. But
Scotty, they have one sack. They have one sack.
Sitting back here for 5 seconds, chilling.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7 seconds every drop back. I'm seeing Darius Slay get cooked in the comments, and they're not wrong. Gint's not wrong, and they're not wrong. And I know, Scotty, we were texting about it, man. Look, it's one thing to be friends and cool with dudes around the league, obviously, right?
I hate this shit.
But and you know, you go up, gain sportsmanship, you go up, you dap them up after the game. That's one thing. But like, Slay tweets after the game, like, "Damn, Philly, this is on me." Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Like, you took responsibility, but then a clip comes out of you laughing with the dude that cooked you to beat the game. Hey, good route, boy.
Yeah.
What? Like, we personally, we here, we don't do that. You go up, dap him up, shake his hand, give him a hug, paddle, whatever you want to do. That's fine. The smile and the laughing and the good route and shit. No. We don't do that. Okay.
I wanted to go back up here to TR's comment. Let me see if I can find it here. Because it was regarding the players only speech after the game.
Oh, yeah. What's that's my point. point.
Yeah,
Dude.
and that's what I want. I want your thoughts on that. I'm interested.
What does he do? What does he do? He's not a defensive-minded head coach. He's never had anything to do with the defense. By all accounts, it is Kellen Moore's offense. Nick even addressed it before the Falcons game when asked about the play calling. Yes, Kellen is calling 100% of the plays.
Yeah.
There could be lies, whatever. But by all accounts, it is Kellen's offense. So he has no input on the offensive play calls anymore. You brought up the game management and the clock management and all of that stuff. Well, he failed miserably at that. And then after one of the most disgusting losses, not one of the worst losses we've ever seen, meaningful losses we've ever seen, but it was one of the most disgusting losses we've ever seen to end in that fashion. He doesn't address the fucking team. I don't care if Jalen Hurts went in there and talked for 60 fucking minutes and covered everything Nick Sirianni wanted to talk about. You address the goddamn team. It is one of your only duties as head coach now. Well, I thought Jalen did a great job. He went in and covered everything. I want to say, I don't give a fuck. Then you are not needed in the room anymore. Point blank, period. What does Nick Sirianni do? And I want to like him. I do. But there's a fine line between liking his personality and, when CGJ makes the big stop and he's running down all fired up, there's a fine line from liking it and then going back to what you said, when the game's not even over and he's doing the first down thing with the grin on the sideline, or the Chiefs game right before our horrible losing streak came about last year, and he's talking shit after the game. You like that? There's a fine line between having that kind of personality and being a complete and utter cornball. And Nick toes it, man. And right now he is on the wrong side of it. And I just don't know what he does, Scotty. I don't know what his job description is anymore. And the few things he's in charge of still, they are failing at.
Yeah. Because, I think this was something that indicted Sirianni during this game for me as well, man. I guess at first you admire his energy and the arrogance, but I guess when it just starts to go bad, this happens with anybody that's like that, right? If you're overly arrogant, you're overly confident, when things start to go south for you, you're going to get called out heavily. You're going to look like a moron. And this is what's happening with Nick Sirianni. I'm sitting here looking at the Falcons head coach, for example, Raheem Morris. And he's calm, cool, and collected on the sidelines at the end of the game. He's not overreacting to this and that's happening throughout the game. And that is instilled through your team, that calmness, that you can call it aura. So again, say that in the chat about Jalen Hurts, but it is. It's an aura. It's a level of confidence that gets taken from your head coach throughout your team. And when Nick Sirianni is acting, just I don't want to say bipolar, but just so overreactive, you know what I mean? Just over the top. I feel like that can do that to your team too. You go from just such a big high, you're about to win the game, the penalty from the defensive line of the Falcons, right? They jump off sides on purpose and you're excited, you decline it, then you get the tush push first down, and it's this incredible high of Nick Sirianni and whoa, first down, and the game's over. And then you fuck up. The head coach fucks up.
On national
television. And now everybody on the team has to switch pages. And, oh, shit, the defense got to come back out on the field and defend for 90 fucking yards. And, oh, shit, Jalen Hurts has to lead the team for 30-second drive with 2 timeouts and get them 60 yards down the field for a field goal. Because our head coach can't get his head out of his ass.
Because, Scotty, there's 2 more things when it comes to that decision to throw the ball third down and then kick the field goal and take the points, right? When again, I'll repeat this till I'm blue in the face. The thing I cannot stand about Nick and why I feel like he has no grip or no balls, I should say, when things tighten up on the game. When it's 0-0 and the game just started and the crowd's all juiced, he's free flowing. We're going to go for it on 4th and 4. We're going to try to go and get 7 right off the bat. He doesn't take the points. They don't get it. but then in that situation, he tightens up and takes the points.
And you know what it does?
Consistent.
It shifts accountability from the offense to the defense.
Yes.
It's now no longer Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore. It's Vic Fangio's fault.
Right.
And I'm not having that shit, honestly.
No, and even go back to week 1. Like, the defense gave up big plays. Defense got gashed by the run. No one's excusing the defense in week 1. The pass rush wasn't there. I know that.
CBJ's got to fucking tackle.
Right.
Learn how to tackle.
But, honestly, how many times do they have to bail the offense out? Now, again, no one is excusing the minute and 40-second drive. How
many points the Falcons score in the first half?
Is doing that, right?
6 points?
Who?
The Falcons. 6 points in the first half?
No,
and we got the ball 4
times. Weren't they beating us? No, was it 7-6?
I think we were up 7-6, or
9-7,
something like that. We were up by 1 point.
It was 7-6. It was 7-6.
We had 4 possessions.
Yeah,
and 7 points.
Yeah,
with this offense.
Yeah,
in the defense.
Right. AJ Brown or not. AJ Brown or not, that cannot happen. But again, so Nick Sirianni to me has no grip and tightens up when things get tough, and he doesn't really know what to do. Right, he gets too conservative late when he wants to be cocky and arrogant early in the game.
Yeah,
that's an issue for me. The other thing, man, is, and I was thinking about this because we did need a touchdown for the team total to hit, right? And I'm thinking, oh man, when they turned Atlanta over with 5:37 left at their own 39, I'm like, man, we might get it. We might win and hit this bet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching them run the ball, and then there's a holding call, and they run the ball, and Saquon's gashing them, right? And the clock's ticking, which is good from an Eagles perspective. And we've seen it so many times. They did it Monday Night Football, week 3 against the Buccaneers last year. Betting purposes, I needed a third Eagles touchdown. They ran the clock out. They got inside the 10. Tampa couldn't stop the clock. They kneel on it. That is something, but that's my problem with Nick and what he decided to do throwing the ball. You ran, declined the penalty. You were going for that game-ending, time-winding-down type of drive, and then at the very last minute, you go away from it. You got to decide, bro. 5:37. Are we trying to end the game and they never get the ball back, or do we want to put our boot on their neck and suffocate them? And it's one or the other. If it's a regular possession, you're going to mix in run and pass with 5:37 left. But the moment you went run, and it got down to the 2-minute warning, that told me you're trying to run out the clock.
Yeah.
And
when he presented that way, he should have ran the ball
and throw it.
Yeah.
That part doesn't make any fucking sense to me. What? Because my point is, Scotty, on 1st and 10, and then second and 10, and then 1st and 10. Why not mix in a pass play? If you were going to throw the ball, why not? There's still 4 minutes left. Why not throw the ball then and try to get something downfield? No, because you were trying to run the clock out. You were trying to end the ball game, and then you went away from it. Again, I'll say for the 100th and final time, Saquon Barkley gets paid to catch that football. He is a superstar. He has to catch that football.
Yeah.
My first problem is you do not allow even a 1% chance for error for that drop. Guys drop football, Scotty. It happens all across the league every single Sunday. Wide open in the end zone for 1 yard, a screen pass. Guys drop footballs. It happens. You eliminate any percent of error by just turning and giving him the ball. And my final issue with it is you threw it to the same fucking guy you could have just handed it off to. You didn't throw it to Smitty. You didn't try to get it to Goddard. You didn't try to get it to Dotson or Covey for the 100th time. You threw it to the dude that was lined up next to Jalen, and you could have just turned and give him the ball, and he was already gashing the Falcons, whether they knew it was coming or not.
Constant overthinking. It's so annoying. We could just have a basic ass head coach that just doesn't overthink things, just does everything by the old school book. And it's how many games would we just win if we just had a coach that just takes us back to basics? I don't know, man. I am out on Sirianni. I know I wasn't defending Sirianni over the offseason, but I wasn't calling for him to get fired. He should have probably been fired. We'll see how this season goes. Maybe he can change my mind. Maybe. We'll see. It's a long season. It's week 2. I'm not going to say that he can't change my mind, but as of right now, they should have fired him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Defense. Let's switch to defense, man.
Well, one last thing. Go
ahead.
I do want to touch on it because Martian brought it up, and I saw TR's because Ginna mentioned the aura and And TR brought up the
Oh,
Jalen's aura. And I do want to talk about Jalen for 1 second because,
yeah.
again, there are things you can look at throughout a game and say, like in the beginning of the game, he looked slow on the first drive. And I'm texting again. I'm texting you, like, dude, what happened to this dude, right? In training camp, we heard his speed's back, and now
moving
he can't beat a defensive end to the edge, to the boundary. And then all of a sudden, a flip switched. And he was running all over the Falcons and picking up humongous first downs and showing personality and getting penalized. Like the biggest bullshit call probably of the game was that 10-yard penalty. But regardless, he played better. He was 23 of 30, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, hit Saquon in the hands. It should have ended the game.
Yeah.
And, man, I'm not talking about Jalen's speech. I'm just talking about the fact that he's not to blame for the loss. However, I do want to talk about the final play because that is something that did bother me afterwards because it just reminded me of the Seattle ending. Everything reminded me of the Seattle ending. And the defense giving up the long drive with under a minute left. We get the ball back. The first down play, you pick up like 13, 14 yards. You're across your own 40. You need like 15 to 18 yards to get in range for Elliott. There were 25, 26 seconds left, and you had a timeout in your back pocket. And he throws a ball into double coverage on a route that Devontae Smith was never open for a second. It wasn't like Smitty beat his guy and he just didn't see Jesse Bates coming down the ball. Smitty was blanketed the entire time, and there was a safety over the top. He even saw the contact coming to him when he got hit and threw. He threw kind of flat-footed. He didn't get his full body into it, and he throws a game-ending interception.
Yeah.
That shit can't happen. And what I mean by that is it's not Jalen's fault that they lost the game, but Jalen Hurts did have an opportunity to be that hero he so seemingly wants to be at times and go put the Eagles in position to win it. And he just couldn't take what was there. I don't care if you throw the ball in the dirt right there and just live to play another down. 25 seconds, 15 yards with a timeout in your back pocket. We just watched Kirk Cousins go 70 yards in like 48 seconds with no timeouts. We needed like 30 total and got like 13 on the first play. It was a horrible decision, just like last week's were horrible decisions. And that shit has to stop. And that's the only thing that caused somewhat of a 1% concern for me when it comes to Jalen is like you had the opportunity and you just couldn't take what was there.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me.
Man, yeah. I feel you, but like these comments are like fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like I'm not there. I'm not on that level right now. Like I think that these are ridiculous. Like I'm looking at the numbers for the entire season. Patrick Mahomes has 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season. And this is like the marker that we're chasing after? Patrick Mahomes? 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 461 passing yards. Patrick Mahomes, 442 passing yards. Like, I'm trying to understand. Like, I am. I get it. The interception at the end of the game, it's not pretty. It's a dumb mistake. It happened. But we shouldn't even have been in that situation.
Exactly.
It can't happen. I do agree. The hero ball needs to fucking stop. Like, stop. You don't need to do that stuff. But let's also just stop putting him in positions for hero ball. Like, I do get it. I do.
Martian. I'm not comparing Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes by any stretch, but he quite literally outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I'm not comparing him at all. To bring up the regular season versus the big stage, like our guy outperformed the best on the biggest stage.
It doesn't happen every week, Martian. It doesn't. That's a lie. It's an overreaction.
Yeah.
Like, you are starting to piss me off now. Like, it's an overreaction. That's what I'm talking about. He does not do it every week. Otherwise, he would have fucking 25 interceptions.
Right.
He doesn't.
Right. Last year he had what, 15? And it was tied for the most or second most. And that was an outlier from the first 2 years.
I do feel I'm confused. I am. I'm confused, but I'm not out on Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. That's where I'm at.
Here's what I'm trying to say. We did say it last week, and it is a dumb decision and a stupid throw. But it has last week's interceptions had more to do on the outcome of the game than this week did, and they won last week and lost this week. Like that interception, yes, he could have gotten him in field goal range. I'm not disputing it, but it never should have been a thing. And he was really good for 59 and a half minutes in this game.
Half of the NFL right now, starting quarterbacks have multiple interceptions this year.
Yeah. Passing's down all around the league anyway.
15 quarterbacks have at least 2 interceptions this year. Maybe interceptions are just, I don't know. Maybe sloppy offensive play is up. I don't know. But I'm just saying, when you look at the rest of the field, it's not that crazy to make these holistic generalizations about Jalen Hurts. It's wild. If Saquon Barkley catches the ball, Jalen Hurts had a great game. Like, he brought his running ability back. Like, I got to see that again. He did start to show a little bit of speed and pace in the running game. I can't come away from that game and say, like, Jalen Hurts is not definitely not a top 5 quarterback, or like Jalen Hurts needs to get out of here. That's where we're at. That's where we're at off of a week 2 loss. Like, come on, that's almost childish, man.
But again,
it's almost childish.
Brother, I know you watch the games. You want to throw in the 2 fumbles. Cam Jurgens snapped it off his chest plate when
that's Jalen's fault.
Like, come on, bro. Like, just for 1 second. And listen, if you want to go back to next week, that's fair. And I'm not trying to excuse Jalen Hurts' play at the end of last year, and I'm not excusing the interceptions so far this year. They've all 3 interceptions are bad decisions, bad throws. No one's saying that. But if you want to go back to last year, like, brother, you mean the game where the defense gave up 30 points in the second half to the Cardinals and they blew a 3-possession lead? You want to go back to the Bucs game when all they did was throw screens and Julio Jones was the number 2 receiving option? Like, that's, please, just, I'm asking you kindly to just.
Yeah. We can judge him without making these hasty generalizations.
Be a little bit fair. That's all I'm asking. There is a way to go to judge him fairly and critique him fairly. He's got 3 interceptions. Yeah. They're all horrible.
Yeah.
They won the game.
I agree.
2 bad ones in.
Yes.
And they lost the game. He threw a 3rd one in, but it had the loss has almost nothing to do with him. Maybe 2% of the loss out of 100% goes on that interception.
Yeah.
There is no caveat. You watched the show last year. I ripped him to fucking shreds last season. There is no caveat when it comes to Jalen Hurts. What I'm trying to tell you is that we're coming off. We won week 1, right? We won week 1. Yeah, we brought up the interceptions, but we were happy we won week 1. We were 90 seconds away from going 2-0, and without A.J. Brown, he played damn good up until the last 25 seconds when he got.
Who was the best player on the field on Monday night? Yeah. Who was the best player? Who had the best performance on the field on Monday night? Who was the best player?
Right.
Kirk Cousins? Is that the answer? Like, for real, Kirk Cousins was the best player on Monday night? Is that what we're going to say? If you say that, then all right, we'll just be on different ends of the fence, different sides of the fence, man. But Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field on Monday night.
Right. And if you want to argue, if you want to go and say, oh, well, they should have fed Saquon more. Saquon was the best player. Yes, but Saquon dropped the throw that Jalen put right there.
They both made a mistake that cost them the game, if you want to say that. Like, if anything, they're equal.
So,
Saquon
again,
and
I
Jalen.
think it's getting misconstrued. Like, is anyone playing at a top 5 or even like 8 level right now? No, right. I wouldn't.
Derek Carr.
Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr.
Baker Mayfield's awesome.
Josh Allen. Like, these are some names that are dominating the league right now in the first 2 weeks.
This is why I hate losses, man. Because I get like defensive and I get like pinned on my back feels like it's on the wall, and I feel like I'm playing like ultimate defender of this team. And it's like I don't want to after a loss
when
like
I'm just
that.
as pissed off as everybody else. Like, I
am pissed. Like, my stomach fucking turned when I watched that.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you, man. I just don't know how if you watch Monday night and you watch how that game played out, you thought
Bijan was up there. Bijan had a good game.
Yeah.
Didn't get in the end zone? Didn't touch the end zone. Had a good game, though.
14 carries.
He did gash us. I'm not going to take that away. Maybe that's the time to talk about The defense, like the rush defense and that pass rush is
and listen, and to Martian and the TR, to be fair about the defense, I tweeted out the fact that I love this. I love this football team. Even when they were winning this game, I love this football team, especially when AJ comes back. This offense is going to be top 3 in the league, if not the best offense in the league. They are Super Bowl contending offense. I think the secondary, for the most part, has been fine. I think the linebackers have been fine. But this front 4 gets 0 push, 0 pass rush, and they cannot stop the run. What is Jordan Davis here for? What is number 90 lined up over the center for, if not to slow down the run? What did Josh Sweat get some money for? What did Bryce Huff get $51 million for? Like, dog, Brandon Graham has made more of an impact than Josh Sweat or Bryce Huff so far.
Yeah.
Milton Williams has the only sack of the season. It's embarrassing. And that's the part that does the most damage for me. That's the part that holds me back from my belief in this team before the season started, of how good they are and are going to be and competing for a Super Bowl and winning the NFC. Is I don't think you can win the NFC with that front 4, with that lack of pass rush, with that lack of run defense. I'll go out. I'll say you're not winning the NFC. You're not getting to the NFC Championship if this is the defensive line production that you're getting.
Yeah, so I completely agree.
Yeah.
What do you do? It's like who on the defense could get better? As time goes on, who could possibly get better? Like maybe more comfortable. Quinyon Mitchell, obviously, he's a rookie. Like the more he plays, the more comfortable he's
going to start to get on the field more.
Cooper DeJean, CGJ coming back and getting reacclimated back there. Maybe give him another game to stop missing fucking tackles, stop misreading, pass plays, whatnot. The defensive line, what can get better there? That's my worry. What can get better?
Well, it has to be.
Carter can maybe get better. Like he can be better than what he's been.
But if he's getting double teamed almost every fucking snap, man, you can't dominate a game like that. Because when a guy like him draws those double teams, that allows the other guy to step up, and they simply don't have that guy. Jordan Davis is never going to be that guy,
which is crazy
when it comes to the pass rush. And right now, like Milton Williams, but whoever's lining up there just isn't that guy, dude. It's just. They're not. Like Bryce Huff has to be the guy that steps up. It's what you were paid here.
Yeah. And I did see I got to start taking the names down to give credit on here. I apologize. I did see somebody tweet it out, but basically saying how, Hassan Reddick actually did really struggle when he first got here, went a few games without getting a quarterback hit, a sack, and then obviously came on.
My issue with Bryce Huff is, man, just turn the tape.
Looks really small.
He looks really small. He looks really weak. He's getting bullied. Yeah. Speaking of weak, Nolan Smith, brother. Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Hit the fucking weight. I get it. It's coming from Dylan Davis, and Nolan Smith looks like Nolan Smith and is a professional football player. Bijan Robinson fucking flattened you, dude.
Yeah.
It is one of the most embarrassing clips that you might get from the Eagles 2024 campaign. And you want it Jordan Davis right now looks like a miss as a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith looks like a miss. Jalen Carter gets double-teamed. Brandon Graham's old. Bryce Huff is getting paid to do nothing. There's an issue up front. And I will go as far to say this, as the linebackers have not been that bad, they are not good at filling a hole, dude. Zach Bond had week 1, Zach Bond, you saw him make a couple tackles for loss at the end of the end of the game, but no, they're just getting gashed up the middle.
I've liked what I wish I could.
I wish I could.
Nakobe, from the linebacking point, honestly, the front 7, Nakobe is probably the only thing that I've truly enjoyed. I mean, Zach Bond had a great first game. I think he's still up in the top 10 of league leaders in tackles, but obviously didn't flash the way he did in week 1. But I thought Nakobe Dean still had some moments mixed in there. But I do agree, man. You are going to have to make a trade. Like, you're going to have to go out and get something. And it can't even be, something small. It has to be a high level addition, man. Like, it has to be a Hassan Reddick level addition. It has to be. I know Khalil Mack is probably not possible financially, but it has to be something like that, man.
I agree. And I love Martian's comment. I don't know what their issues are in the locker room. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Devin White. But you were going to tell me. Oh, my bad. Clicked the wrong one. You were going to tell me that Devin White can't help in the pass rush aspect or come up and hit someone in the gap on a run.
He's not suited up.
Right. You're going to tell me. And here's the other weird thing, because Isaiah Rodgers posted the picture. Like, he wasn't inactive. I guess he just didn't play. And he posted that picture, sitting on the bench and whatever. I forget what the caption was. But, like, what did we hear all training camp, dude? And listen, and I know there's limited spots to go because you got Slay on one end. Slay's not going anywhere. I hate to break it to people right now. And Quinyon, obviously I want Quinyon on the field. That leaves someone to come off the field if anyone's getting what I'm trying to say. Even though he wasn't bad in this particular game, like, out of all the things we heard in training camp, how do Keely Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers not get playing time? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly, Martian. How does that happen? I don't understand it. So I don't know.
And Cooper DeJean is the next guy up because Avante tweaks his back. Cooper DeJean slides in. So why not just give
which I'm not mad at. I do want to see Cooper DeJean on the field, but, like, I don't know. I
think he's the guy that is slotted. Like, he is slot corner. Like, he is the guy that will be there in the long-term future. I do believe that. Just give him a shot next week, man. Fuck it. Like, we're about to go into New Orleans and play against what is it? Rashid,
brother.
The fuck that motherfucker looks like a flash of lightning when he runs. Put some youth out there in the slot to maybe help with that, right?
Yeah.
Saw Ray McLeod and Darnell Mooney get a little loose on this defense again. Too fat, two guys with major speed. Let's just try some different things. Like, that's what I'm asking for here. Like, let's try some different things. Some things haven't worked. Like, brother, if you need to give more snaps to Thomas Booker.
I was just going to say that to you, bro. Think about how embarrassing that is.
Yeah, he's making plays somehow. He's making tackles.
Thomas Booker had 2 tackles for loss and 3 total tackles in how many snaps? 9 or 8, I think they said he had.
Yeah, less than 10.
Bryce Huff has 1 statistic in 2 games, and he gets paid $51 million to fucking do so.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, Martian, I personally, because Slay is in the last year of his deal, he's not going to be here in the future anyways. I would move him if it could get me some help with my pass rush. I would move him for it in a heartbeat. But like Dylan said, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll finish out the season here. And I'm not begging to lessen the CB depth. No. We know how fast things can go downhill there.
I don't hate Darius Slay. I don't hate Darius Slay's play. Again, I think Kirk Cousins was 5 for 5 when targeting him, but in total he allowed, I think, like 44 yards through the air. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't hate Darius Slay's play on the field. What I can't stand, and obviously he's the one in coverage and gets fucking toasted in the end zone to lose the game ultimately. What I can't stand is that, and my thoughts on Slay's personality and social media presence and his podcast and the friendliness after the game.
He shouldn't be a captain. I can't do. That point. He shouldn't be a captain. No. That's exactly what that is.
No.
Like, the fact that Smitty's not a captain, but Darius Slay is.
I agree.
Like, give me a break. But, yeah, I feel you. It's not to say that Slay is this horrible player. No. It's just I am intrigued by some of these guys on the bench, but I do feel you. At the end of the day, that's CB1 for now. I'm just thinking of ways we can improve this defense because I think that is clear. I don't think it's an entirely garbage defense like they were saying earlier, but I do think there's a significant part of it that is garbage.
If Quinyon Mitchell's a fucking dog, dude.
Yeah, I like his game, man.
Dog. And like you said, I do have confidence in CJ Gardner-Johnson to get things straightened out over the top, stop with some of these miscommunications that are happening early. He got his eyes caught in the backfield when that, what was it, Darnell Mooney that went to the house, or Ray McLeod?
Yeah, it was Mooney.
He got caught with his eyes back there. That shit has to stop. But the toughness that he brings, that fourth down stop was a play that a safety quite literally hasn't made since Malcolm Jenkins was here for us, coming down the box and literally just standing up Bijan Robinson at the line of scrimmage and putting him backwards. The antics, even like, dude, getting that clip of him pulling Ray McLeod's just no look, just walking by him and just yanks his mouthpiece off his helmet is the funniest shit ever and instigates him into punching him in the fucking face. However, Ray McLeod didn't get thrown out of the game. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think maybe they saw him pull the mouthpiece out and they're like, he antagonized him a little bit. So maybe that's why.
Maybe. But
he did take his helmet off too, man.
He swiped it off.
It was suspect. It was suspect.
It was
like right here.
He did it. Yeah, it was like up here, and he
just ripped it off. But
it wasn't like under his chin or by any means.
Shouldn't get a 15-yard penalty regardless. No. It doesn't matter. It doesn't impact the game, so it should not. The spike on the ground by Jalen.
That a weird ass fucking call anyway, like you just said. In what way? Like, you can't take your helmet off.
Yeah.
In the middle of game match. So like, if it's second down and you make a big hit and there's still third down to be, like, the ball's going back for third down to be spotted, you can't rip your helmet off on that. But like, if it's fourth down and you make it like the play is stopped, your defense is getting on the field.
Yeah. Why not?
Why can't you run down and take your helmet off?
It's the same thing with touchdowns. You can't take your helmet off. Like, maybe you want people to see your pretty face. Like, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, you make a play, you deserve to celebrate it. Especially in that moment. I thought that was weird. But I pulled this comment up, man, because it's a great point, Martian. And I think, like, this season, regardless, like, either it goes the way we want it to or Nick Sirianni is gone. And I think either way, that is probably it's a good thing either way, right? I look around the league, man. I'm looking at Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. He's not playing out of his mind. He's 2-0 though. He hasn't thrown an interception. He's 2-0. Has Mike Tomlin as his coach. What we know is a good head coach. You have Baker Mayfield moves down to Tampa Bay, gets down there, starts balling out. And so even Justin Herbert out there with Jim Harbaugh this year so far, running the football out there. J.K. Dobbins revival, right? Even I think it was
Geno Smith's balling, by the way, just for people.
Josh Allen has struggled with turnovers. So, like, what I'm trying to get at is, like, these different situations do impact quarterbacks differently, impact offenses, impact players differently. And what we're seeing, man, some of these mental errors, these constant mistakes.
Yeah.
I think it's an indictment on the head coach.
It is.
To be fair, it could be Jalen Hurts, to Martian's point, to TR's point, to Gent's point in the comments. It could be Jalen Hurts. I just won't know until Nick Sirianni is gone.
I agree.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
I do agree with you, bro. And look, I don't want Nick Sirianni gone because then that means the season didn't go the way we wanted. That's the only reason I don't want Nick Sirianni going right now. Because if Nick Sirianni stays, that means for my money, we turn things around and we're a good football team again.
Yeah.
But I want to leave everybody with this thought, and I said this to you after the Tampa Bay game when we were discussing Sirianni's future, should he be brought back or not.
Yeah.
Would Nick Sirianni have a job if he wasn't coaching the Philadelphia Eagles? And if the answer is no, then why is he coaching the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah.
If Nick Sirianni would not get a head coaching job in the NFL, if he wasn't coaching here, then why the fuck is he coaching here? Would he forget have a job? Would he be considered for a head coaching gig around the league if he wasn't coaching here?
If you're going to have a players-led speech at the end of losses, just make Kellen Moore the head coach. He doesn't have to talk to the team. He just makes the plays and calls them.
Because do you know what locker rooms can be player-led, Scotty? The ones where the head coach already has enough stature built up.
Yeah, enough control.
Yeah, like, you know what player-led locker rooms can look like? Andy Reid's.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's. Horrible.
Players who made self-inflicted mistakes in the game shouldn't get to speak to themselves,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Saquon shouldn't be giving a speech if he dropped the game-winning pass.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts shouldn't be giving a speech if he threw the game-losing interception.
Yep.
It should be the coach. You should be addressing the mistakes and how they can't continue moving
because
forward.
look, again, as we said, it's not Jalen's fault that they lost. But if I am like Devontae Smith tracking that ball down, I scored tonight, 7 catches, 70-something. If I'm him, I'm like, I know it's probably not what he's saying.
What do you think their mentality is like that? Because like it's happened a lot in the last like half of year, like last half of last season, and then early on this year, where AJ, Smitty's just standing back there, and like for me, I'm just like, what the fuck? What is their thought? Are they happy that Jalen's giving them a chance to make a play? Or is it like, God damn, bro, like stop.
There's no way. Because
Superman.
the two interceptions he's thrown Devontae Smith's way this year, Devontae Smith hasn't had a chance to make a play on the ball. Dude, that ball on Monday night wasn't anywhere near. That was, if Jesse Bates didn't come up and make the play, the ball was just hitting the ground.
Yeah.
And the Packers one, he threw in the quadruple coverage and underthrew Devontae. Like, so it's not even like he's allowing him to go up one-on-one and make a play and the defender makes a great play or bats it up and it's picked, whatever it is. It's like you're just chucking shit up in those moments. And that's the shit that's got to stop. And if I'm Smitty and I'm in the locker room and we only need 15 yards to potentially win the game, and Jalen goes and does that, and then that guy's going to come in the locker room and lecture me about cleaning shit up. Yo, the other thing, and that's another thing, I will say, the interception was the worst pass, and then he made one other really bad pass and bad decision in this game, or slow decision, I should say.
On the sideline?
The Jesse Bates of Smitty at the goal line. When he knocked the ball out of Smitty's hands at the goal line.
The late throw.
It was very, very late to get there, and he threw it here, whereas if he leads him towards the pylon here, Bates can't get to the ball. He puts it on his back shoulder more, and Bates is here and is able to punch it out immediately when it hits his hands. Those two plays, I'd be like, man, just get me the ball. But again, it's like he makes that mistake to Smitty, but then he goes out and perfects it to Saquon, but Saquon drops it. So it's like, I'm not going to just overreact and blame Jalen for this one. But
the confusing part with the Eagles right now is that last season they finished the season looking like a team that was starting the season, if that makes sense. They looked like a sloppy-ass team that's playing in week 1, week 2, but they looked like that past the halfway mark of the season last year. And that's why it is a concern. I do feel y'all. It is confusing. I just am not on that side yet. It is a new season. It is a slightly new group of players.
Look, I will say, for everyone out there that is, I'm concerned. Do not get me wrong. There is a concern level here in this basement right now when it comes to the Eagles. But for everyone out there that's overly concerned, you're going to have your answer heading into the bye week, week 5, of what this football team is. Because the way this year has started out, the first 4 weeks schedule is ending up completely different than we may have thought or predicted. And I brought this up to you after they both won. But, so week 1, you win, and you beat a Green Bay team that was predicted to go to the NFC Championship by a lot of people and potentially win their division. Week 2, you lose to a team that was predicted to win their division. Okay, whatever. You're 1-1. Well, now you're playing a team that is winning that same division. And then you play another team that's tied for winning that same division, the NFC South. And I know we normally laugh at the division. Our Turf Talk breakdown of that division wasn't the greatest. Apparently, I know it's very early on in the year, these teams are a lot better than we may have estimated. And Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield are playing at top 5 levels right now. Both games are on the road. A.J. Brown I have no idea if he's going to play. I'm going to say he doesn't play this week, which I do want to circle back to missing A.J. on Monday night in a second. But you're going to know what this team is because they have an opportunity to go on the road and compete and win ball games against 2 of the league's best teams so far in the year. Do I think the New Orleans Saints at the end of the day in 8 weeks are going to be one of the top teams in the NFL? No, I do not. Right. Do I think Baker Mayfield and the Bucs slow down at some point? Yes, I do. But as of right now, you can't take anything away from them. The media is hyping them up. The Saints are the best team in the NFC right now. They scored 91 points in 2 games. They blah, blah, blah. They just kicked the shit out of the Cowboys, who are in our division, who some people picked to win the division over us.
Yeah.
So you're going to find out what this team has and what they're made of by the bye week on how these next 2 games go. So I'll just say that we don't have to wait till week 10, 11, 12 to figure out, oh, this team's not, they're not, it's not going to work out come playoff time. You're going to know. If we're 1-3 heading into the bye week, Nick Sirianni might be gone. We're going to know.
The good news is that we didn't have this mythifying 8-0 start and think everything is all rainbows and sunshines and everything is golden. Shit's fucked up right now. We need to fix shit. Week 2, it needs to get corrected now. You got a long season to go. It's a great wake-up call early on in the season. I think Marshawn said that in the comments earlier. But
he just signed an extension to be here.
Yeah.
I don't listen, and that's another thing that, like, listen, types of losses sting, but that is one thing as a fan compared to a player. Like, I promise you, they are not thinking of themselves in the same light that we're thinking of them right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
they're looking on to New Orleans. They still believe they can go in and win that game. Meanwhile, the fucking sky is crumbling down here within the fan base. So yeah, I don't think AJ Brown watched that game and went, you know what, man, I got to get out of here.
I'm confused.
Brother, I love you. I love you. There's some overreaction in these comments when you take things into totality. And it's week 2. It's what, September 18th today? And this team's already hot garbage after a 1-1 start.
Yeah, no, it's just one of them things, man. It was a tough ass loss. I do get it. I do get the being upset.
Oh, dude, do you know?
I still am upset. It's one that could come back and bite us at the end of the season, no doubt.
When
it comes to NFC standings, stuff like that.
Like the tweets before the season and the memes, everyone being like, "Oh, 10 days until a football team determines my mental state, for the next 6 months or something." Yeah. Like, that is real. I felt clinically depressed yesterday. Do not get it twisted. More like, all the same things, all the same concerns, the worries, the ugliness that you have and you watched are right in here, or right in this stomach that dropped watching how that game ended. But same thing with the Phillies. I'm not going to take it to such a crazy statement. And crazy,
Marsha put me at the head of Jalen's legal team. Brace it then, man. I'll at least throw on the jersey or something, man. We will embrace it as Jalen's number 1 defense attorney here this morning. I will take that role, man. I will wear it proudly. I'm not somebody that gets caught up in the hype train of players. I'm not a Jalen Hurts fanboy. I'm kidding. I do want to balance it out, right? Because things could look a lot worse. That game's a lot worse if you don't have Jalen Hurts covering up a lot of the mistakes by that offense.
Issue with the comments earlier, and I love Martian, and Ginn is my fucking boy. But like the whole Carson comparison thing, like they're 3-7, and Carson got ran out of town. Yes, I know Jalen has some ugly turnovers. Please do not fucking tell me, and do not sit here and try to tell me that you think that right now Jalen Hurts looks like the 2020 Carson Wentz. Please do not bring that into the conversation.
You guys are saying you want Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback of all time. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too. I want him to. He's the best quarterback fucking ever. So yeah, I would love to have Patrick Mahomes. I would love to have Andy Reid. I would love to have Andy Reid back. Please.
Here's what I'll say. Find me a moment in 2020 where Carson Wentz was 23 of 30 for a touchdown, 85 rushing yards, and a touchdown, and walked off the field with 1 minute and 57 seconds left at home with a lead and lost the game. And find me a moment that it looked like that, okay?
Martian, I'm glad you're laughing now, though. Look, earlier, though, the comments were not coming with laugh emojis. Yeah. They were dead ass statements. Yeah. I appreciate that we're having a little bit of a laugh. We can laugh about this right now. If it happens again next week,
How are you feeling for this week, man? Because I know Scotty's taking a
I
little
say that
anniversary
I'm very
trip.
confident. I'm
Scotty's
very
taking a little
confident.
anniversary trip coming up. You leave today? You leave today?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, early morning, tomorrow,
Yeah.
whatever.
So we probably won't be around for a Friday show. We're gonna be pre-recording Turf Talk after this for Sunday and tomorrow night. So I do want to get some of your thoughts on this game coming up because, like, again, this was a game before the season. Like, this was one of the most confident W's I wrote down on the schedule. And now it's looking like one of the most difficult, right? The Ravens are 0-2. The Bengals are 0-2. The Jaguars are, fuck those teams. Fuck those more difficult games. The Saints on the road. This is one of the most difficult ones. How are you feeling? I know you said you're confident. I know you text me even after that game and you're like, fuck it, man. I know I'm going to hammer Eagles money line. I'm not AJ Brown or not. I'm not worried about the offense. I think the offense will be able to move the ball.
They'll be better, but
the defense is like Alvin Kamara just scored 4 touchdowns on the road against the Cowboys defense, and we're supposed to go into the dome and slow that down.
I'll say this with the Saints, and this is going to be any team that we play. With our offense, we will be able to beat that said team if the offense doesn't cause situations that puts the defense in really tough spots. So turning the ball over in a short field for the opposing offense, 3 and outs, stuff like that's going to put your defense in horrible places. And at that point, they will start to look like what they are. But if you keep their opportunities minimal or minimized, then you can win each and every game, man. They've shown you they can get stops at moments in games. They kept us in that game against Atlanta in the first half. But they also can get shredded at any moment. So let's just not give extra opportunities to the opposing offense. And I think that's the key this weekend, man. The senseless penalties by the offensive line that just kill drives. The play
that is something we didn't even bring up, brother. Throw the fucking RPO out of the playbook. Out of it. The read option, you have Jalen, he's a dual threat guy. You can keep the read option, which is simply a run play. The linemen can get downfield as early as they want. Cam Jurgens and company are just not getting it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, Jalen's getting the ball out fairly quickly. Like, he's pulling slant, and Cam Jurgens is 17 yards down the field already. So just throw it the fuck out of the playbook. It's costing them big time. Stop trying to force that down there, and stop trying to force the Britton Covey fucking wide receiver screen. AJ Brown is out this week. Okay. So that's 2 things. I do just want to throw this to you, man, because I'm teetering, right? We're still days away. The loss is closer than this upcoming game is, so I'm still dealing with it, right? I'm at the point where, yes, I do believe the Eagles can and possibly will win this ball game, Scotty. Like, I don't want to – we talked about it after week 1. I don't want to allow 1 week of football to dictate and change my perception of teams just off of 1 game. Well, I don't want to just allow 2 games to do that, right? So the Saints starting out 2-0, no matter how impressive they do look. I did not have the Saints as a good ball club. I did not have the Saints as a team that's going to make the playoffs in the NFC. And I have the Eagles winning the NFC. So I'm not going to allow a 2-0 start on one end and a 1-1 start on the other to dictate and change my overall concept of this game prediction. However, a part of me does want to say to the Eagles, especially after that loss, you don't have my total respect and confidence to just give you the win, to just pick you to win this game outright on Sunday. So part of me does say, you know what? Like, I think they'll win. They can win, but maybe I'll pick the Saints and see it, give them a little edge, a little push in the ass. But I don't want to allow 2 games to change the dynamic of how I view these teams, man. Like, Scotty, honestly, dude, look in the AFC North. The Steelers are 2-0, and Deshaun Watson's 1-1, and the Bengals and the Ravens are 0-2. You honestly think that's going to keep track? Do you think, like, Ravens fans are sitting here, or Bengals fans who have started 0-2 each of the last 3 years now? Do you think they're sitting here like, oh man, our season's over?
Right. They would have more of a reason to feel that way, to be fair, as well. Like, in my opinion. But it's a great point. The Bengals specifically, not the Ravens. I think the Ravens will bounce back at a certain point. But
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
Ravens.
to your point, that's what you have to
will
ask
win.
yourself after week 2, man. Like, you trust the Vikings more than the 49ers then?
Right.
Like, are they the best team in the NFC too? Like, no, it's 2-week sample size. Shit happens, man.
Like if the Buccaneers went to Detroit in the playoffs again, or went to Detroit in week 18 or whatever
Are you picking
it was.
Tampa Bay?
No.
Y'all putting money on Tampa Bay?
Yeah, exactly.
If the Vikings play the 49ers next week, y'all putting money on the Vikings?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Maybe you would.
If the Raiders played him, if the Raiders played in Baltimore, if the Raiders played in Baltimore again, am I picking Gardner Minshew and are the Raiders a better team than the Ravens, Scotty? No.
Right. So I don't know. And I also think the way week 2 played out kind of favors. I shouldn't say it. It doesn't favor him, but in my mind it does. It's weird because going into that Atlanta game, I told you on Sunday that I had this weird gut feeling that the Eagles, like with everything that was happening on Sunday, the weird lines, the Cowboys losing to the Saints at home, the 49ers losing to the Vikings, the Lions to Tampa Bay. Feels weird. Feels like a weird week where something weird is going to happen. And man, I should have just stuck with my gut crunch because I was right. Something weird as hell, something horrible did happen on Monday Night Football. But with that being said, the Saints got the benefit of going into week 2, dominating the Cowboys, getting all confident, heading back to New Orleans 2-0. And the Eagles are coming with a chip on the shoulder. They just lost a game that they shouldn't have lost at home. And they should be hungry. Right? So I don't know. It's interesting. It almost feels like New Orleans is due for a loss. It feels like the Eagles really need a win.
Without a doubt.
You got to go out there and make it happen. And, I know a lot of people were talking about the opportunity that the Eagles lost because of the NFC loss. And it is true because the NFC teams, some of those contenders lost to other NFC teams. So it is true still. But the Cowboys do go and they play the Ravens this week. So we'll see, man. They could have another loss. We can't worry about it. I'm just saying for the people that are out there worried about it.
1,000%.
They have a tough schedule. They have the number 1 seed schedule in our division.
That's my point.
Right?
Scott, but that's my point about being a fan and just trying to balance things out. And yes, while we can't ignore how last year ended and it's still the same head coach and quarterback, whatever. Like you mentioned even the quarterback play, but to take it a step further, just the overall team play.
Yeah. Defense.
The Baltimore Ravens were the number 1 seed last year. They're expected to be back in the conversation. They're on the border of going 0-3. If they don't go 0-3, that means the Cowboys started 1-2. The Lions are 1-1. The Niners are beat up and are 1-1 and just lost to Sam Darnold and the Vikings. The Ravens were 8-point favorites against Gardner Minshew at home. They lost the fucking game outright. So my question to you guys, yes, it stings worse when victory is right here. The Eagles were like 98.3%, odds on to win probability in a 2-minute warning. Okay.
Yeah.
But my question is, would you rather lose to the Falcons like that? Or would it be worse if they lost at home outright to the Ravens or lost to Sam Darnold and the Vikings? You know what I mean? Like we're saying, it's the fashion in which they lost this game that has everybody freaking out, and rightfully so. I'm in the same boat as you guys. But a lot of other Super Bowl contending, playoff contending teams are 1-1 or 0-2 and have lost outright as 8-point favorites and 7-point favorites and to way worse teams than the Falcons. So that's where I'll leave it.
4 2-0 teams in the NFC right now. The New Orleans Saints, the Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are those your NFC champions? Any of them?
Right.
It's 2-week sample size. That's what we're talking about. But I do agree, ultimately, overall, Eagles have to be better. Offensively, I think things can get a lot better. Defensively, we will have to see.
That is the last thing I want to end the show on, man. Things will get a lot better, especially as they get healthier. A.J. Brown's the best player on this football team. And even though we brought in Saquon Barkley, who was an animal yet again when they gave him the ball, and they did. I mean, they gave him the ball 22 times. He had 4. Like they did feed Saquon. Like they just need to feed him a little bit more when they in different areas. But they fed him, and he's still a monster. And I love Smitty, and they do have weapons. But they miss A.J. Brown. Like it's clear how the offense
win a Super Bowl.
and the play
Without
calling
A.J. Brown.
changes.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how special he is.
Yeah.
That he I don't want to say outshines, but like even Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert can't make up completely for what A.J. Brown
brings.
provides to this team. Whether he's getting the ball for 150 yards or has 40 yards, the presence of A.J. Brown out there opens up every single thing in this offense. It's clear.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want to lose Smitty. I don't want to lose Goddard. But if you have A.J. Brown and not Devontae Smith, I can't just help but feel like the offense still runs at an even more of an elite level. So
they will not win a playoff game if A.J. Brown is not in the lineup. And that's just the reality, but it doesn't make that loss acceptable either. So
no, agreed. Absolutely agreed. But they need him, man. I don't know how to feel about it either, because I saw one tweet from like Mike Garafolo that's saying like he's going to be good to go. And then like during the Monday night game, I think it was Lisa Salters or someone said that A.J. Brown said he's expecting to miss multiple weeks.
Which in the past, I feel like Lisa Salters has had that connection with A.J. Brown somehow. Like she's reported on him in the past.
And like, you know, you don't want him to miss these games, because now with that loss, like these games become more important and more difficult, obviously.
Your NFC standing.
You don't want to rush them back in week 3 because you're bugging already. You know what I mean? So it's weird. Hamstring, obviously, we don't want it to linger. So we want to clear this up 110% before he does come back. But it has me thinking, man, like with that early bye, what if it's not just the Saints game?
Yeah.
What if they look at it and go, let's just try to win one of 2 without AJ, go 2-2 into the early bye and give him basically 4 full weeks of rest with this hamstring, and then he comes back after the bye. But I'm not saying like that could be a good plan in theory, but that's scaring me with how they looked and only scoring 21 points.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
We'll have to see as the reports go on, man. 2 things before we wrap up. Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj. It's no longer a 2-man race, man. It is Shams business now. Woj has accepted the GM spot for the men's college basketball program at St. Bonaventure. I believe he went to St. Bonaventure, if I'm correct. So it makes a ton of sense of why he would want to go back there and potentially turn that program into something incredibly fun. But that's pretty cool, man. It's going to be something to keep an eye on because college basketball season is kind of around the corner. And then the Phillies, big time win last night. Magic number down to 4 to win the National League East. Magic number down to 1 for yet a 3rd straight Red October just to make the playoffs. And I believe the magic number to have home field throughout the World Series, like even in the World Series against the American League, is down to single digits. It's at 9 for them to have home field throughout the entire postseason run if they were able to get there. So
it's coming.
Bills, Red October right here. Bryce Harper's power is back. He's hitting like 390 in his last 13 games. He's been on real. Schwarber, Castellanos homers again. Oh, and by the way, Zach Wheeler should win the NL Cy Young. He is so fucking good, Scotty. Oh my God, dude. I believe since in his last like 7 starts, he's got like a 1.13 ERA or a 1.3 ERA or something like that. It's filthy, dude. It's just
the cherry on top. He deserves it, man. He deserves one. So that would be
the Phils are boosted tonight. Is that true? I know. I did see on DraftKings there's an early up to early payout. And
he's in Florida, so he gets like some different.
Yeah. They're also plus money tonight, Scotty. So listen, man, I'll tell you, hammer that boost. Aaron Nola versus Freddie Peralta for the Brewers.
It's a good matchup, man.
Lucky SOB, man. They are.
I do good in Champions League today. I might have to dabble really hard with that.
Before the trip, man. But all right, me and Scotty got to go record 2 separate episodes of Turf Talk for this busy weekend and talk about the rest of the NFL. So, guys, we will be talking to you. If not on Friday, and if not on Sunday, because Scotty's traveling, we'll be back on Monday morning, breaking down hopefully a victory Monday and talking to Martian and all of you beautiful people in the comment section. Get those pills out, brother. Get those pills
And
out.
keep them steady throughout the weekend, Martian.
Might need them on Sunday at 1
You'll
o'clock.
need them.
Might need them. But with that said, guys, I didn't get into the introduction because I was so pissed off to start the show. So as always, if you are watching in replay form, if you're watching on Twitter specifically, do us a favor, hit that follow button on Twitter, but also do yourself a favor and check out the YouTube channel specifically. It is the best and only spot, as you can see in the comment section, to get your comments and thoughts pulled up and be interactive with us on each and every one of our live streams here at DSM. For myself, for Scotty, subscribe, follow, like. Peace out, everybody. Go Birds!
Go Birds!